This is the render that took over 100 hours. So is this, and this, and this. But how does that compare to a render that takes 1 hour? So to find that out, I challenged myself to create a render in 1 hour and 100 hours. Since I only have 1 hour, there isn't time for me to think of a scene on my own. So I immediately went on Google and started searching for inspiration. I found a bunch of images, but the one I like the most is this one. It looks pretty easy to create, and let's get into it. I headed over to Sketchfab to find some models. The only thing I really needed were rocks. I found this model by Pixel Life that matched the original image very well. After finding all the assets, I had a good 50 minutes left to create the scene. For the water, I used a plane and reduced the roughness to 0. I cranked up the transmission to let light pass through the surface. This lets the water look smooth and clean, unlike your search history. For the ripples in the water, I used a noise texture and a bump node, and I cranked a few settings here and there to get perfect ripples. For the sky, I used a sunset image that I found online on Google, and I scaled it up and placed it behind my scene. Then I increased its emission to 1, which made it look like it's part of the scene. I took the rocks from Sketchfab and scattered them around my scene, trying to match the original. I added some volumetrics to my scene to give it a more realistic and cinematic look. I readjusted the positions of the rock and removed a few because I didn't like the way they looked before. I was finally happy with the placement of the rocks and I decided to go ahead with the lighting. The lighting was pretty simple. All I had to do was take an area light and place it at an angle. This gave a perfect evening look and a good dreamy glow. I added a few more rocks to the back and a deck to the side to complete the scene. And here is the final result. I guess it's not bad for 1 hour, but it could definitely use some more improvements. Anyway, on to the 100 hours. For the 100-hour render, I already had a really good idea. A few days ago, I tried to recreate Ghost of Tsushima in Blender, but the results weren't what I expected. So, to redeem myself, I have chosen this cinematic render. It looks amazing. The trees, the lights, the ground, everything is perfect. And I have to recreate this in Blender. So let's get into it. The first thing and only thing I needed were yellow trees. I couldn't find any on Sketchfab, so I quickly went on Google and searched for some. Google also didn't have many good trees, so I finally settled on BlenderKit and it had the perfect model. The scene setup was pretty easy actually. All I had to do was weight paint a bunch of areas on the plane where the trees will be, and then scatter them using the hair modifier. There is a strong area backlight which I can achieve in 3 hours setting up realistic sun and area lights, or I can just fake it with an emission plane in like 2 minutes. After all that, I ended up with this result. Obviously, it's nothing like the original. So then I realized something. A few weeks ago, I had taken part in the World's Next Door challenge hosted by Calvo, and in that I didn't win, but I made it to top 50. So that gave me access to talk to Calvo and help me with my projects. So we connected through one of his live streams and he fixed the position of the trees and the lighting and made the fog just so much better. After Calvo went through my project, it looked amazing. Like, look at that fog and the light, it's balanced perfectly. Huge shout out to Calvo for helping me in this project. Now all I had to do was just add a few more trees and make them a bit taller to give some natural shadows to the corners. And after about 3 days of working on this render, I have reached this result.